At approximately 3.5 million, the Indian American population is still a very small proportion of the overall American populace, and yet they are an influential and highly successful community. In a contentious presidential election cycle where every vote has come to matter, the Indian American vote is also very crucial. But what are the issues that are important to Indian Americans? We spoke to a wide range of Indian Americans here in the center of Manhattan, in fact not very far from Donald Trump's headquarters, to get a sense of what is really crucial to them. Joining us now is Rhonda Binda. She was born here. She's worked in the White House under then President Bill Clinton and actively engaged in the Indian American community. Tell us, when it comes to this particular election cycle, why is it crucial for you to come out and vote?
Well, it's not just a right, it's a responsibility to vote. And there's so many issues that affect Indian Americans, from immigration to education. We have to look at the policies behind supporting technology, innovation, and what each of the candidates are saying about continuing the success and the job growth that we've seen under the Obama administration. And so there's been an unprecedented amount of participation I'm so excited to see for the first time by South Asian Americans. Just yesterday in Queens, we held a session for seniors that were using their absentee ballots and all voted yesterday. And so many of them immigrated to the country, for a lot of the same reasons that my parents came here, for better opportunities. And we want to continue to have the generations ahead of us be able to live the American dream like I have.
Joining us now is the first Indian to run for political office in New York City, Mr. Inderjeet Singh. Such a pleasure to talk to you. You can really give us a sense of the Indian community's involvement in politics all the way back from the 60s to now. You arrived here in the United States in 1958. It really has been a long journey for you.
Well, when I came here, there were at the most about 300 Indians. This includes the people from the Indian Consulate, Indian Mission, and there were a few business people. And I have seen the growth of the Desi community all these years, and happy to say that we've done well, and we are now an important part of the polity, both economically as well as socially.
Now, as a voting bloc, candidates here in America running for a president will reach out to the African Americans, they'll reach out to the Hispanics, but we don't hear them so often targeting the Indian Americans specifically. Is that because you're still a small percentage of the population, and how can that dynamic change?
Well, fortunately and unfortunately, the politicians look to us mostly for money. And our political leaders or social elite, which is in contact with the various politicians, practice personal politics, in that we have never really raised any issues of community interest, and when we have been very successful. For example, at one time the Indian community raised the issue of nuclear cooperation between the United States and India, and the powers that be paid attention, and we were successful. But most of the time we are just happy to give our checks, have our picture taken, and be done with it. And unless we change, and I'm optimistic that we are changing, I think the new generation, the people, the kids who were born and brought up here, are beginning to know the system much better than their parents and their elders did, and are now going to be playing the game to the best advantage for our community.
Traditionally, American presidential candidates don't reach out to the Indian American vote bank as they do the Hispanics or African American community, mainly because the Indian American community is still a very small part of the overall population. But they are influential, successful, and carry a lot of weight, especially in this close election and contentious election. Also, the nature of political activity has changed within the community. More grassroots level organization and involvement, as well as running for political office. In New York, Natasha Srani for Times Now.